Hey, welcome back, Growth Squad. Welcome to, check this out, episode 13. That's right, of the Eugene Hamilton podcast. Thank you so much for those that have been along for these 13 episodes, these 13 weeks, as we've been growing. We've been growing and we've been glowing every single day. So I thank you. Thank you for subscribing already. Thank you for liking already. I thank you for sharing because, as you know, each and every week, there are people that you meet, there are people that I don't know, that you know, that I would like for you to introduce me to. And one way to do that is to help me share this message out, share this podcast series out, share my YouTube, whatever platform, Spotify, Apple, wherever you receive your podcast. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for going on this journey with me because today, another powerful episode. Today, we're talking about how to stop caring about what other people think. Yeah. Come in a little closer. Today, we're talking about how to stop caring about what other people think. And as we segue there, I want to remind you, man, that a few weeks ago, in fact, maybe a couple of months ago, I went to an event called Growth Day LA. If you're on the West Coast, if you're near the Glendale area, if you're anywhere in the metro Los Angeles area, you ought to make your way. I think it's October 1st. I'm not getting paid. I'm not getting sponsored. But I tell you what, when I went to Brendan Bouchard's event, Ed Milet was there. Trent Shelton was there. If you know anything about mindset coaching, you know anything about individuals who are very passionate and serious about motivation, you know that Brendan Bouchard has a book called High Performance Habits. I got it for free because I went to the event. I want to make sure you can also get a blessing as well. So down below, I want you to just comment high performance. The first 5 people to comment high performance, I promise you'll get a message back from me or a member of my team, and I'll send you a free book. The first 5 people that comment high performance. This is not our book of the month. I just wanted to make sure that I pivoted because this book has been beneficial to help me sharpen my habits, to hone in on my habits, and to do what I've got to do to move forward. So again, Brendan Bouchard's #1 best-selling book, High Performance Habits. You've got to get it. In fact, if you don't get one of the 5 that are free, feel free to go to Amazon or wherever you get your books to get you a copy of High Performance Habits. But today, on the Eugene Hamilton podcast, we're talking about how to stop caring about what other people think. Let's pray. God, we thank you for this day. Thank you for this time together. Thank you for my friend who has tuned in, whether they are listening on audio, whether they're watching on video. Thank you for their life. Thank you for their support. And thank you that you support them. I pray that whatever it is that they're facing today, that they would know that you're with them, that they would know that there's a promise in your word that says, I will never leave you and I'll never forsake you. So bless our time together, we pray. Amen. How to stop caring about what other people think. Take my time today because it's disheartening sometimes to look at the world in which we live in and how people sometimes make decisions based on what other people think about them. No. I've seen scores of individuals who have switched up their style, whether it be their clothing, whether it be their hair, whether it be their career, whatever it is, because somebody else had a thought, negative or otherwise, about what they were doing. Have you ever thought about how the world would be a different place if all of us were just free to move forward and not really care? I mean, we hear it, but not really care about what other people think about us, our decisions, and what we have to offer to the world. Man, there's so many people that I've seen that have missed the boat. And when I say that analogy or I use that cliche phrase, let me bring a little bit closer. So many people find themselves stuck, not because they don't have the skills, not because they don't have what it takes to move to the next level, but because they're stuck on thinking about what other people have to say about them, whether it be online. Now that is bananas to me to think that there's some people, and I get it. I'm sensitive to people whose minds and hearts oftentimes are impacted by what they see online. I'm not taking a dig at you. I'm not laughing at you. But for me, I say to myself, wow, people are online. And I've heard people call them keyboard gangsters, right? Or cell phone gangsters, or people that try to make fun of you and you'll never see them. They're sitting somewhere across the country or across the world even. right? And they're saying stuff about you. They're saying stuff about your content. They're saying stuff about your gift that you've allowed to steer you away from what you know you should be doing. What if we lived in a world where you could hear the noise, but then block out the noise? No, right. Like, in fact, I said over and over again, man, LeBron James talks about, in fact, Michael Jordan talked, and Kobe Bryant, they all talked about the fact that, hey, when it comes playoff time, when it comes real game time, they block out. I don't read the newspaper during Michael Jordan's era. I don't look at social media. I turn it all off because sometimes it can impact us if you let it. Dr. Serini Pilau, I hope I didn't mess up her name, says that about 40, she's a social psychologist. She said about 40% of people's daily thoughts are concerned with what others think of them. 40% of people's daily thoughts are filled with thinking about, I wonder what this person thought about my song. Oh, well, I wonder what this person thought about the job I did in the area that I know I was called to be in. I wonder what this person thought about my speech, or what this person thought about my podcast. Listen, whoever your impact is supposed to reach, I promise you, you're doing yourself a disservice by allowing people that don't appreciate your impact to stop you from reaching those that you're supposed to be impacting. Let me say it again. You're completely out of order if you allow people to talk you out of doing what you're supposed to do, and they've already made up in their minds that they're not gonna let your content or your offering to the world impact their lives in a positive way. And then that blocks the people that do want your offering, do want your service to impact them. It blocks them from getting it because you allow people to talk down on you, to talk about you, and to get you off course. How do we get to a place where we overcome that? Younger individuals, the study goes on to say, particularly teenagers, young adults, they spend more time, by and large, so the studies say, they spend more time because they're more consumed with, here it is, and again, I am not saying that social media is bad. In fact, I appreciate social media. My messages have gone to hit people's ears and hearts on social media that I would have never met in real life. I appreciate social media, but don't let social media get in the way of your gift. That study, let me complete it, said that younger people, teenagers and young adults alike, in fact, according to the Pew Research Center, they found that 70% of teens and young adults reported feeling pressure to look good or to be perceived positively by their peers because they don't want people to talk about them. Here's some consequences for concerning yourself with other people's negative talk. Here's some consequences. Because with everything, there's a consequence. And oftentimes in life, we forget that when we allow ourselves to go down that quote unquote rabbit hole of wanting to be accepted by everybody. And I said this before, and I'll say it again without apology, and I'll say it with broken English. You ain't for everybody. If you didn't understand that, let me say it a little bit better. You are not for everyone. Everyone will not like you. Everyone will not love you. Everyone will not appreciate you. Everyone won't embrace you. But I promise you that as you look in the mirror every single day and remind yourself of how powerful, how gifted, how impactful you are, that will be, number one, the first key to help you rise above the noise. How many people in the world do we see that if they would have allowed the noise, the outside noise, even sometimes inside noise, let's be honest, because sometimes we get some inside noise from family members or people that we've come to love and appreciate, and sometimes that noise stifles us. But by and large, the noise comes from the outside, by and large. So here's some consequences that come our way as a result of believing that somehow. Let me pause here because some noise you should pay attention to. I'll say that. Some noise do cause us to reevaluate. Because if the masses are saying one thing, I've got to say to myself, oh, okay, maybe I should make an adjustment, but it shouldn't stop you. Remember one time I was serving as a pastor of a church in, I don't recall where it was because I've been across the country. But anyway, nonetheless, that's not important. What's important is I was serving and I thought I had fine-tuned my delivery and I thought that everybody loved it. Right? I thought I fine-tuned how I deliver my messages each week. I thought I fine-tuned how my posture was. I thought I was just on something. I thought I was just God's gift to the world. And one time a person pulled me aside and suggested to me that maybe my voice was too loud. I said, okay, thank you. I'll be louder next week. I said to myself, thank you for your opinion. I'll get louder next week. The next week, 2 people came. I said, man, okay, great message, but can you, the noise, I mean, it's just too loud. The next week, so forth. And it went on for about 6 weeks. And finally I said to myself, you know what, let me evaluate and see what's going on. Long story short, I discovered that there's something wrong with our public address or PA system there at the at our gathering place, and so at our church. And so I said to myself, wow, if I listened to the lady the first week, I could have gotten a handle on whatever was happening. I couldn't hear because at that time I didn't have any monitors with feedback so I could hear what they were hearing. And then the person that was in the booth was a bit inexperienced with regard to EQs and all the stuff that happens on the soundboard. And so we were able to get some assistance, get some help, and get it right. But there was really nothing wrong with my voice. That's how the message came to me. There was something wrong with the public address system. So sometimes we should pay attention. We can pay attention. And sometimes paying attention will help us reach a bigger audience. I get that. But some of the consequences that are not positive, and we'll get to some things that will, I think, help us build that mental capacity and that fortitude to move forward. But sometimes when we allow people or individuals or even a group of people to get us off course by their opinions, it causes mental stress. Sometimes it causes emotional stress, and sometimes that messes with our physical health. There are people who lay awake at night, who don't get the proper rest that they need because their mind is spinning because somebody didn't like their presentation at work that day. There are people who stay up at night, or there are people who spend money they don't have to get the approval from people because somebody said something about what they had on, and they end up going into debt trying to please, get the approval of, satisfy the, the visual whatever of somebody else. A few more consequences. It reduces authenticity. So sometimes when you allow people's opinions to take root in your life, in your heart, in your mind, it causes you to act like somebody that you're not. And that's the worst place to be in life, because I shared it with you on an earlier episode, an earlier show, but I read a quote that simply said, trying to be somebody else is a waste of the person that you are. Yeah. You're authentic. You are unique. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. And when you try to be like somebody else, God didn't make you like, listen, nobody has the same 2 fingerprints. You are who you are. And when you allow other people to rain on your parade, it reduces authenticity. So how do we get to a place where we put a halt to the habit of caring about what other people think, or allowing that to stop our progress as we seek to move forward and having greater impact wherever you are? You may not be doing what I'm doing. That's fine. I'm not doing what you're doing. We have different gifts. How can we get to a place where we stop allowing the opinions, the voices, and the energy of negative people to get in the way of our progress toward greatness? Number one, the first way to do that, the first way to get to a place where you stop caring about what other people think to the point that it stops your progress, is you got to do some self-reflection. Number one, that's the first step. I got to ask myself, what is the root cause of me allowing other people's opinions to stop me? Is it something that happened during my childhood? Is it a relationship that I really cherish that I lost? What is it? What's the root cause of me sitting here crying myself to sleep at night because I'm trying to get the approval of somebody that will never like me? Isn't it interesting that even if you show up, I remember I was in, the 8th grade, and growing up, I told you before that I worked with my dad on working, cutting down trees and raking leaves and grinding stumps, doing some hard down south labor, right? Remember one summer I wanted some shoes, and he was like, "You out of your mind." Yeah, he said, "I'm not buying those shoes." And at that time, of course, shoes now are triple what they were then. But he said, "I'm not buying those shoes." And so he said, "You can work this summer and make money or whatever you want to do with that money. You can purchase those or not. That's up to you. But I'm not going in my pocket to spend, the shoes were maybe about $70, maybe. That sounds kind of high. I don't think I wanted shoes that high. Maybe they were about $60, $55, $60. He's like, nah. And just for context, we grew up getting our school shoes from Payless, just for context, right? We didn't get name brand shoes. Listen, I'm grateful because we got I have a kid now, and it's interesting to me how my wife and I are raising him, and he doesn't really understand. And of course, he's 3, so he still has a little time to gain an appreciation for purchasing things that maybe he'd like or things that have better quality. But nonetheless, when we were growing up, we didn't have access. My siblings and I, we didn't have access to high-end products and shoes. And so I worked that summer. Here it is. And I got enough money to buy those shoes. And did I miss a part of the story? The reason why I wanted to buy those shoes was because the school year prior, I was being made fun of. Yeah, I didn't have name brand shoes. And so I said, when I go back to school next August, or when I go back to school when it's time to enroll, I'm going to go to school with some nice shoes on. They're not going to make fun of my shoes anymore. Now, it hits different when you got to spend your own money. It hits different when you finally realize that, hey, if I show up with those shoes or not, the people that are talking about me with my cheap shoes on, if I have some more expensive shoes on, they're still going to talk about me. I got to the counter, and I was trying to buy some Nike 𝐾𝐨. Yeah. Yeah. I think my uncle had gone down south, and I saw him. He lived in Long Beach, and so he had a little Cali swag, and I said, man, I like those shoes. I'm going to get those shoes. Next time you see me, I'm going to have those shoes on. So he had some Nike 𝐾𝐨s, and I bought some Nike. They had my size. I put them on the counter. And when the clerk or the attendant told me how much they cost, and I realized I had to spend my own money on them. And when I realized, as I'm in my head at the counter, at the register, thinking to myself, if I buy these shoes or not, those jokers are not going to like me either way, I put them back. Yeah, I put them back. I think I was going to the 9th grade, maybe. I put them back. I said, now forget that. I'm not spending this kind of money on these shoes. Plus, it just came to me in line. I already knew it, but it was, I guess it reoccurred to me, yeah, these people they're not for me anyway. So you gotta do some self-reflection. If you're going to get to a place where you stop caring what people think, you gotta ask yourself, why do I care? What does this stem from? Why do I march to the beat of somebody else's drum? Why am I always in a position where I'm trying to get the approval of other people? No. You got to do some self-reflection and ask yourself, why? The second thing you got to do if you're going to build, the second thing I would offer to you, I should say, if you're going to build the kind of mind that would allow you to block out noise, you got to develop self-compassion. Yeah. You got to develop self-compassion, which includes practicing self-acceptance. Yeah. You got to get to a place where you got to ask yourself, before I can expect somebody else to accept me, do I accept myself? Yeah, do I accept myself? Do I love me for me? Now, all of us can do better in certain areas of our lives, but I'm saying at your core, do you accept you? Because oftentimes when people don't accept themselves, when they don't love themselves, they depend on outside, external things to validate them, and it causes them not to appreciate and love themselves. The third thing you got to do is, I would encourage you to focus on your values. Yeah, you're focusing on stuff that has nothing to do with your morals, your values, or your principles. You gotta identify, and when I say focus on your values, hear me out. You've got to focus on what means the most to you in life. When you focus on your values, right, that also creates inside of you this kind of tunnel vision, where you're to the place where you're no longer depending on other people to tell you what your value system should include or exclude. No, you've developed your own system. You've developed your own set of principles. And most times when people care about what other people think, it's because they're relying on other people to give them or to be a guide for them, and you don't have your own internal North Star. Number 4, challenge negative thoughts. Yeah. If you're going to build a strong mind, you can't just let negative thoughts just be sitting there. Challenge them. Yeah, ask those negative thoughts. When they come to you next time, ask those negative thoughts, what are you doing to help me get closer to my goals? Yeah, this negative thought that comes to your mind, ask yourself, man, this negative thought has come to my mind. What is, if I act on that negative thought, how closer am I to reaching my ideal place in life if I go that route rather than staying on the route that I know I'm called to be on? You got to ask yourself, I got to challenge these negative thoughts and also practice within that perspective taking. Yeah. Within yourself. Challenge, how am I looking at this? Should I be looking at this through these lenses? Should I be looking at this through from this point of view? Number 5, limit social comparison. That really, I'm talking about social media, these platforms, limit social comparison. You can look at people, look at things for inspiration. That's cool. But if you stare so long and go down that rabbit hole and allow other people's lifestyle or what they've achieved to get you down in the dumps, you're out of order. You got to limit social comparison. Number 6, surround yourself with supportive people. Now, I didn't say surround yourself with a bunch of yes men. Yeah, I paused for emphasis purposes right there. I didn't say surround yourself with a bunch of people that co-sign everything you do. Support comes in various different forms. There are some people around you that support you, and all they do is tell you what's right, tell you what's good, tell you how to reach the next level. But there are some people that are around you to help you. I remember one time I had a person of influence in my life, an educator who kind of told me some things that I didn't want to hear one time. And I said to myself, wow, this person is very blunt, very whatever. And it caused me to self-reflect though. Instead of hearing all the good stuff, this individual said, no, you ain't gonna hear all the fluff and the good stuff from me. I'm gonna challenge your thinking and get you to a place where you realize and recognize it ain't easy moving ahead in life. Number 7, stay present. Man, don't allow somebody else's opinion to take you down a rabbit hole in the future that you create something negative that may never happen. Stay present. Number 8, take action despite fear. Number 9, cultivate gratitude. And number 10, seek professional help if you need it. Go back to number 8, take action despite fear. Build confidence. If you challenge with letting other people's opinions direct and redirect your life, engage in activities that push you out of your comfort zone. Yeah. Take action despite fear. Engage in things. This morning, you can't tell just yet, but I was in the gym and I've been comfortable with this certain weight that I've been pushing on the bench, on the incline. And this morning I put 45 more pounds on it. And I said, wow, this is challenging me, but I actually can do it. Did you hear what I just said? I said, this is challenging me, but I'm actually pushing it up and down. I can do it. Number 9, cultivate. I'm going to go back there. Cultivate gratitude. Spend some time every day focusing on what's positive in your life and not what's negative. And then, as you always know, I'm a champion for therapy. I'm a champion for counseling. If you need some professional help to get you out of that rut, to get you out of that state of mind, get the help that you need to move forward. Man, I thank you all for joining me on today's show. I hope that you really share this out because there are so many people that you are connected with in this life that have allowed other people's ideas and thoughts about them to ruin their lives. I don't want that to be you. So share this thing out. Go back and listen to it again. Whether you're on audio or video, I thank you so much for tuning in. In fact, please don't forget to leave a comment below. If you want a free book called High Performance Habits, just put high performance in the comments. If you're on YouTube, high performance in the comments. And I promise you the first 5 that get there, I will meet you in your email and let you know full well how in the world we can get you to a place where you can get a free book called High Performance Habits. Once again, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time. Go, grow, glow. Peace.